Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Starlit Stories podcast with me, Stella Marie. I'm currently wearing a cloak, if you can see. I'm here with a friend of mine known as the Elven Wizard, and we are across the seas right now. I'm here in South Wales, where I always am. I don't go very far, but my dear friend, the Elven Wizard, is currently traveling around at the moment. He will go into that in a moment. And yeah, if you're also looking at our backgrounds, we also have one toe in another world that we're going to go into in a moment as well. And I'm just really excited for this conversation and for you guys to yeah, go on a little journey with us into something that's very unique, that's very new and very needed and necessary for these times where the mundane is just becoming less and less magical with just the disenchantment of this world that's been, happening over hundreds of years. But right now we are here making it even more magical, re-enchanting the world together. And yeah, I won so the Elven Wizard, aka Aaron. That's how I say it now. You're not Aaron, aka the Elven Wizard. It's the other way round to
You
me.
got
Um,
it.
yeah. So, yeah, how is it going, Aaron? And I'd just like you to just introduce yourself to the audience. Yeah, so talk about like who you are and what is the Inner Realms journey.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me here and welcoming me in. It's an honor to be here and get to share and bring this magic through. So yeah, human name is Aaron Pine. The Elven Wizard is my avatar, is my true essence that I've been bringing through the last really my whole life, but really full on the last 4 years. And yes, I'm traveling mostly on the West Coast, but here and there throughout America for now. Hopefully, look forward to coming over to Europe in the next few years, I hope. Spreading the magic, doing a lot of events and trainings, bringing Inner Realms Journey to the world with all I got. And it is my life's work. It is the culmination of everything I've done over the last 40 years, bringing through Inner Realms Journey, which is a online website and app platform right now that hosts a library of magical meditation journeys. And it is a unique synthesis of many different meditation techniques, journey work, mythologies, mythic traditions, spirituality, magic, fantasy, and even a bit of gaming all into this unique new experience. And it takes the listener, the participant, on a magical journey to really discover their true essence, their magical essence, their avatar, as I call it, which to me is your mythic self. It's the true story of who you are underneath all the human stuff, right? We've all developed our human identity from culture and from our parents and from our upbringing and all these things, right? That's developed our human story, kind of like our human movie. This lets you pause that and dive into what's that real essence within you. What's that truth that's in your core, in your heart, in your soul, in your spirit, and bring that out and start to into this world, into your human self. Uh, Different realms or dimensions or even aspects of yourself. And so these audio journeys take you through this fun, engaging adventure to begin to connect with all that you are and bring that magic through into this world. So there's all kinds of audio journeys, there's power-ups, there's trainings, there's quests, points and leveling up and all kinds of fun stuff to help engage you and connect you in with more of who you are.
Yeah, and I've tried it out. So I've got to a certain stage of the Inner Realms journey. I have just come to meet my own avatar, and it is an avatar that my inner self like brought to me that I like truly recognized. And I feel like I'm only just realizing this now, but what is really drawing me to your work and us collaborating is the mythic identity, the mythic self. So like mythogenetics, I've heard some people call it. And like for me, this started with looking at like films as that I'd watched and identified with as that when I was younger
Mm-hmm.
and thinking about like what is it that I identified with in that character.
Mm,
So like what you're doing with Inner Realms Journey is bringing us to like look at like the most brilliant parts of ourselves. But a lot of us like identify with like the damsel in distress or the hero that is just constantly trying to save everyone,
mm,
and
mm,
this is like tapping into that thing that it's like actually natural for us to identify with characters that we've learned from the conditioning from the outside of us. So yeah, this is like a very positive like deconditioning conditioning process, I feel, for me. And what I read on your website just before I popped onto here was that it's the Inner Realms journey is a life-changing quest of wellness, empowerment, and wonder. And those words just spoke to me, and I feel are going to like speak to all of the audience here on the Starlit Stories. Like
mm.
empowerment, wellness, and wonder. Like,
Mhm.
yes, like these inner
Oh,
child needs that it's like it's you're just saying to everyone like it is so okay to just dive straight into the shit that your heart wants and that your
yeah.
child self wants. Like I'm giving you permission. And it's like, oh, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. I'm out here wizarding all around, so you can bring forth your magic too. That's it. It's yeah, it's I mean, like you said, there's all these scripts we've been given. There's the scripts we've been influenced by, the movies and stories we've read, which are all fun and inspirational, and even the stories of mythologies, right? Which I love a lot of the different world traditions. And this is about what's your myth? What's your character, right? That you are, that you truly are, right? We get all these impressions and we pick stuff up and like there's inspiration there, right? I've got mine's the Elven Wizard. I'm definitely inspired by other characters from stories and myths and stuff, but I've also developed my own character. And I've heard so many quotes from famous people over time, like it's about the character of a person. So what's your character? How do you bring that through? And that's that inner child creativity, the imagination, and the depths of your own psyche or your spirit is like letting that rise up. And I think we have the greatest opportunity that we've had maybe in a long time here on this planet to bring that through. There's been so much conditioning, and we've got to fit in a box, and it's got to be a certain way. And now we have so much more freedom to bring forth that true essence we are, and develop that and rewrite the story of our own life through that. So this is allowing you to become more the writer of your own life versus the conditions and the stories. I just posted something about if you don't develop your own character, others will try to for you, right? And whether it's so much media and all kinds of things is trying to enforce what they want you to be or what you should be or fashion or this or that, right? This allows you like, no, what's my own self, my own character, right? And then that arises out of you, which allows you to live yourself, your truth, and navigate life from your own experience. You're not living anyone else's life. You're not living life for your parents or because because some organization told you. You're living from the truth of your own being, which is your magic, your essence, your creativity, and your passion and your joy, which brings about vitality and health, right? If you're happy and excited and living what's joyous for you, you're going to be healthier. You're going to be more vital. You're going to be more excited and passionate for life. So it all weaves together into this fun experience.
Mm. Yeah,
It's a
it's
good
like
way.
really holistic. It's super,
Mm,
super holistic. It's like, yeah, tapping into the mind, body, and spirit, into the psychology. And it's really holistic with the people that work with you on this. It's not just aimed towards like one type of person, or one type of like one sector of society. So yeah, who is this Inner Realms journey for? And what I'd be interested in knowing is like, who was it for when you started it? And now, who are the sort of types of people who have taken an interest in it that you perhaps didn't think would, be a part of this world? So,
mm,
yeah,
mhm.
and that's what I'm thinking about now. Like, where did it evolve from?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it came out of my teenage years was spent gaming, fantasy gaming, a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, Magic the Gathering, stuff like that. And then I got into always kind of interested in mythology, got into spirituality, meditation around 18, 19, and then really dove into that. So my thought was when I was creating this is going to be for people that are already on the spiritual or meditation path of some sort to um, add to what they are already doing and sort of expand upon that. Games, fantasy stories, right? but there's this sort of disconnected experience. It's like you go play that game or you watch the movie, you get that little taste of the fantasy realm, but it's not really embodied and brought to the rest of your life. So this is a way to start to connect with that, to have that fun experience, and also start to import or bring that magic into the rest of your life. So those are two areas. I knew it was going to be for kids at some point. I thought that was going to be originally down the road. And when I started developing this, I met my friend Emma, who has been a school teacher for 20 years, originally from the UK, now New Zealand. And so she started running it with her classroom, and they just loved it. And she saw lots of great things happening, creativity coming along, online empowerment. She was actually able to get kids that she couldn't get them engaged to do anything, get engaged with this and start doing lots of projects around it. So we developed a whole curriculum of activities around it. So that grew the whole kids program. So it's for kids and it's the kid inside the adult that's been waiting to come out. And so now I'm reaching out into, we're starting to work with a children's hospital on the West Coast, which is huge for us to be able to bring this into that hospital, which should connect us to many other hospitals to support those kids, right? Those kids are in there going through some challenging things to give them something that's both engaging but also empowering and hopefully bring some wellness to the world. A new endeavor that emerged out of this last 6 months really is using this for end of life support for those that are facing that, they are only going to have so much longer here, to give them certain tools to help them develop what we call your sanctuary, which is the next step after your avatar is your own home realm, which you could think of as your own, place that's eternally there that you come from and go to. So to give people the ability to uniquely create and connect with what their afterlife might be for them, and to help relieve a lot of the right anxiety and stress. Where am I going and what's next? And help to build that connection to that place. And then also to leave that behind as a legacy for their loved ones of, yes, my brother, my son, whoever passed away, but I know they're in their magical mountaintop monastery, temple, castle, whatever it is. And I have a clear description of that and where they're at. And then I can then meditate and journey there too and see them, which opens up a lot of healing and sadness. Obviously, it's still a sad experience, but to be able to, okay, they're not here, but I know where they're at. I can still connect with them. So we're starting to work with end of life doulas. I'm going to start training this, bringing this into this international doula organization that trains end of life doulas all over the country. So that's kind of a new emergence out of this. So there's a lot of applications. Of course, the gaming industry and the fantasy industry is just like blowing up. More and more people are into this. From Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, Harry Potter, all that's just like, whew. So those people, anyone that's interested, has that bit of curiosity about magic, right, in them. So this speaks to that and allows them to embody it more in their life. So it's a very exciting time to see this open up. And I feel like, when I got the cue to do this, I was like, okay, it's like people are ready for this. It's time.
What gave you that cue to do this?
This idea came to me and of bridging gaming and all my meditation studies into this new experience. And at that point, I was a bit was like, whoa, this is big, and I wasn't quite ready to embark on it. And then at the end of 2019, I found myself in New Zealand for a few weeks for a little adventure. And I got to go to this beautiful park near Wellington where they shot Rivendell, the Elven City. Of course, I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan, so I was there. And there's a recreation of the Elven Gateway from the movie when the whole fellowship walks through and leaves Rivendell to go on their quest. And so that's when I took the oath to myself into the realms to build Inner Realms Journey, and was like, okay, it's time to do this. I came back to the States for a few weeks. Several friends were like, oh, we're going to help you with this, and stepped in different ways. And I was like, I think I need to like give birth to this in New Zealand. I feel like that's the spot. I had made some friends over there. So I was able to plan a 2 month sort of personal retreat. Got an Airbnb over there near Auckland, and I went over and I landed there a couple days before COVID. And the world, of course, blew up. And my 2 months turned into 13 months in New Zealand. And as I started building this, COVID started. And I was like, wow, okay, we're gonna like, it's almost like the alarm went off inside. Like, yes, this is the time. Like, people are gonna need this. I just saw the world going into the chaos, and I was like, okay, it's time. And so it gave me the opportunity to sort of like really hone in and kind of, not have to do a lot of other things. And even like my other work slowed down. It was like, go for this, Aaron. It's time. So it was like just this perfect, perfect storm of things coming together. And I just dove in and started building it from there.
Mm. Yeah, wow, like the amount of inner worlds that blossomed during COVID while everything was like quite chaotic. It's yeah, that makes a lot of sense actually. So
Yeah.
much was built and thought upon there. So like what was your like meditation practice like before that?
Mhm. Yeah, it'd been for many years a lot of like journey oriented work. I've done breath work and mindfulness, different stuff, but really was always leaning towards the journey work of journeying into other realms and journeying and connecting with spirit beings of different sorts. Trained um, and studied just a wide tradition, many different traditions from Celtic and Norse. Was definitely a big inspiration to different shamanic traditions, some Native American traditions. So I've always kind of like been exposed to many different things, which has been helpful in my other work of years of doing web design for a lot of different spiritual practitioners. They would come to me from all these different traditions, and I would like, oh yeah, I get you, I understand, and they're like, awesome, cool, some a web designer that can understand me. So I've sort of pulled together all these different ones. I've done artwork for years, and so my artwork has, symbolism from different mythologies and traditions, and I've always felt there's this universal connection. Each one's its own beautiful, say, branch or leaf on the tree. Each culture, and there's this universality to them all. So, Inner Realms Journey is kind of my evolution of that, right? It's
Mm.
inspired by all these mythologies. It can connect in, it can sort of interface with whatever mythology. Emma, who helped me with the kid stuff, she's in New Zealand still. She's working with a lot of Maori kids, which is the indigenous culture there. And so she's been playing with them of how they can bring forth, right, their Maori tradition that's been again suppressed, like a lot of ours, and bring that in to also inspire their own mythology and their own avatar and their realms and stuff as well. So it's meant to be very universal to allow people to step into their roots, but then also how can we evolve that? What's needed right now in the modern day where we're at in our world.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, I just want to like plug in now the Mystic Cave, which
Yeah.
Um, a lot of you might be listening to this because you already know about the Mystic Cave. And if you don't, well, welcome into the Mystic Cave. What you're saying there about like bridging the old world traditions and the old world mythologies into the modern world, like it's the only way, really. I think there's so much like division between a friend of mine likes to call it, like, especially over here in Britain, the red dragon and the white dragon are just constantly fighting. So the red dragon represents like the native people of Britain, and the white dragon represents what is now England and the Anglo-Saxons and things. And there's like just been a lot of headbutting for hundreds of years. And it's like, how can these two dragons come together and like sort of put their heads together and then like move into this new world?
Mhm.
And that's just like necessary and it's essential to do that. And like this Inner Realms journey is like such a deep honoring of where we are now, but also honoring like something that's so lost in society,
Mhm.
storytelling,
Mhm.
inner journeying, the sacred imagination. This is something that me and you both like we're just really passionate about, like that sacred imagination.
Mhm.
Um, so the Mystic Cave is a collection of online offerings that me and my friend Olivia have brought together, and the Inner Realms journey is a part of it. So there are 10 creators, and I'm one of them as well, and we have all brought either a workshop, a course, um, a film, audio, in Aaron's case, 1 month pass to the Inner Realms journey as a part of this collection of offerings that you will be able to purchase from us in the description of this video. But definitely check out our Instagram like during these weeks of and our Facebook pages during these 2 weeks leading up to Samhain, so leading up to the end of October, because we're going to be talking and sharing a lot about the offerings. A lot of them are to do with journeying, a lot of them are to do with sacred imagination, they are to do with mythology. And it is about returning to those things that are innate in human beings. in the modern world. And the reason that we look back at the past is because we left them in the past, but they're still here. They're still a part of who we are, and they're
Mhm.
still so important. Um, so yeah, guys, go out and check the Mystic Cave. We'd love to welcome you
Yes.
in. Um, yeah, so just to plug that in there, and we'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. Um, yeah, so like what is like the feedback that you've had with Inner Realms Journey? Like
Mhm.
especially the bits of feedback that like totally affirmed and it was like a heck yes confirmation, like this is definitely what is gonna really help move
Mhm.
the world forward, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, it's been a lot of great feedback across the board. It's amazing. I love my favorite part is hearing about people's avatars and the magic that happens in that process. And for most, how they share how much joy that brought them. Like, wow, I haven't felt like this joy or play since I was a child. And it just kind of takes them back into that creative space. And the tears often flow with that of like, oh yeah, that's who I am. That's like that's that's the part of me that I've forgotten or has been buried, or I didn't feel safe to or wasn't allowed to bring out. So just that right there is a huge gift for so many people to access that again. Um, and it's cool because some people go in there, right? Like there's avatar inspiration on there from different mythic and fantasy concepts or archetypes. And some people go in there and they think, oh yeah, I really like this or that. But then once they go into the meditative process, right, because it takes you deep in your own psyche, subconscious spirit, something emerges, and it's not always what people thought, right? Because they're in a mental space to go in that deeper space and let it emerge from there, and then just the level of profound, like, oh yeah, that actually makes more sense. That's who I am, and maybe we, like I said earlier, sometimes we feel like we have to play roles, right? Or we've been impressed in these certain roles, so to really tap into what's your truth, like let go of everything else, things you maybe are just thinking of going. From there, the creative passion that comes alive from that. I've had people say I've had dreams of doing X, Y, and Z, but I wasn't always afraid to. And this gives them that inner courage and resource. And like, yes, this life here through the realm of Earth, as I call it, is an adventure. It's a temporary journey. I came here for a reason. Let me start to bring it through. So I've seen a lot of people really step into their own power and their passions through this process. I've had a lot of people heal things through it, and they've been in a certain realm and received insight, right? You're guided in these journeys, but there's space for you to have your own experiences in them as well. And so people have healed things. One great example is one of our super users who had this hearing problem. I think it was his left ear. Doctors couldn't figure it out. Nobody had, just like his hearing was gone. He was in the ice realm, and this creature there, this being came to him in the ice realm and said you turned your hearing off from when you were younger, when you were around a lot of people yelling, your parents were yelling and this and that, and all these memories flooded back in of that, and he was able to clear that, and his hearing came back. So he was so grateful for that. So I've seen a lot of other people heal things, shift things mentally, emotionally, physically from it. We saw with the kids in the kids' room, like just this excitement and passion and creativity come alive, and had boys in our first class that she couldn't get them to do anything creative at all, write or draw or anything. They did this and they were just writing pages and drawing and wanting to do more and have more writing time. So we found that how much it opens up that inner creativity, that inner fire of spirit, and allows them to bring it through into life. So lots of applications. It's also very bonding when this is done in groups, whether it's you're going a partner, family, friends, classroom. It brings this level of bonding because you start to see each other as you really are and understand and be able to then support each other through that. Um, I was just training staff at the hospital, right? And they all work in different departments, but they were able to like see, just discover their avatar, share that through our class, through the training, and really like, I mean, they were crying on the class, like, yeah, that's who you are, and I see you, and be able to support each other in that, and then bring that into the day-to-day life is super amazing, right? And getting out of that, like, oh, fear and how do I interact? It's like, oh yeah, you're the wizard, or you're the inspirational monk, or you're the healer mystic, right? They really saw that each other and be able to hold that and uplift each other through that. I have my friends all now. They of course know me as Elven Wizard, so it's like they know how to get me back in that space if I'm feeling overwhelmed. They know they can call upon the Elven Wizard to help them, right? It's like this fun playfulness to inspire each other. I've seen it with partners, I've seen it with family, so lots of ways this really brings a, like you said, a holistic, inspirational playfulness to life and being able to deal with challenges, right? We were talking about the hurricane. There's a lot of big challenges. There's going to be probably more to come. So it's easy to get weighted down and lost under the heaviness of it. And I'm not saying don't feel what you need to feel, but if we can bring some play to this, some magic, some creativity, allow us to navigate these challenges with greater ease, right? If you're weighted down in heaviness and stress, it's hard, your system doesn't function well. Like we all know this, right? But if you can move into this creative, playful state, you're going to come up with solutions, ideas, ways to navigate that wouldn't have been there. So this empowers you to handle those challenges. I can be like, oh my gosh, this is overwhelming as Aaron Pine. If I come in as the Elven Wizard, yeah, let's magic this up. Like I'm ready. What do I? And right, it just shifts my whole energy, my way of being, how I handle the situations, and to have people around you like, yeah, we need the Elven Wizard, we need the Mystic Beekeeper, or this Mystic Bee Guard, or whatever like your avatars are. It just invigorates everyone into a new way of being.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, yeah. Like you've got me thinking about how, like, when you watch a film, sometimes you're in the cinema and that character just touches you and you're like tearing up, and then you come out and you're like, I would literally like be that hero. And then you go out and the people that you're with are just like, oh, that film was all right. And you're just there like, and then like I've had this anyway in my experience. I've had this and then I haven't been able to express and share how like much something really touched me because it wasn't like relatable. And what you've just said about like people that like in the hospital, like people that you're training, and how they have been able to see who they truly are, and it like opens up a level of vulnerability. It's sounding like with the adults, it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, as I said at the beginning, a permission slip to be your true self, really.
Mhm.
And it's like it's really, really incredible. And yeah, for me, I'm really excited to dive into it a lot more. I have spent some time in like path work in meditation. I've just found that word. Like
Mhm.
I think it's commonly sort of known as like core shamanic journeying meditation. And I, every time I've experienced it, I've just been wanting it to be more accessible for people. So with this Inner Realms journey, it is. And it's like, it's wonder and woo woo while also like totally acceptable. And yeah, just really, yeah, really empowering. So, um, yeah, when I was on the website, I found some pictures from the kids and some sculptures. So when it comes to like the creativity that's being unraveled through young people,
Mhm.
it's not easy to do that. Like, it's really not easy to do that. I've recently started speaking to someone who works with young people, and it's like a drop-in center for youth and young people who perhaps just, they're in care or they've got learning difficulties or whatever reason that they just need somewhere to drop in. And he said that trying to get phones out of their hands is like trying to get drugs out of an addict's hand. So the fact that you found something, did you just hear what I was saying?
No, it went out.
Oh, right,
Sorry.
okay. It's okay. Yeah, so I was just saying that I've started talking to someone now who works with young people and youth, and it's like a drop-in center for people who just need something to do, get off the streets, they're in care, so they don't have a solid group around them, or they've just like got their learning difficulties or behavioral difficulties, whatever it is. They
Mhm.
asked me to come in and provide something for them. And they said that it's really hard to get phones out of these kids' hands. They said it's like trying to get drugs out of an addict's hands. Like, we're just trying to find a way to get phones out of kids' hands. And it sounds like with what you're doing, that's it's helping. Like, it's bringing children back to like sort of like raise their own dopamine levels like naturally and organically. And have you had any resistance with that? And like, what is your approach to that sort of resistance? I feel that would be really interesting for people who are listening to this, who are parents, who are like, oh, but my kid's like just gonna, be bored within minutes. Like, yeah, have you got
Mhm.
any advice about that?
Yeah, yeah, we've hit that a bit, and it's can take a little more coaxing, perhaps. I think definitely having a parent or facilitator there doing with him and sharing, and really the more they can step into it themselves, like this is my avatar and this is what I've created, and to um, exemplify that,
Mm.
and then invite them into it. And Emma, who's done the most work with the kids, one on one, has really stepped in. She's the fairy empress, and so the more she steps into that and shows her creations around that and makes it fun, and like invites them in. And usually she'll explain some of the concepts and stuff, and then she'll maybe bring on the journeys and let them go through it, and then like create, ask them questions. What's your avatar look like? What kind of powers does it have? Right. So that's where in realms, because it uses some of that game terminology that the kids are familiar with, kind of powers or skills does it have, things like that. It starts to invoke their own creativity. And being that it's tapping in and empowering them to express what's exciting for them. She had some boys that were like ninja robot kind of, so we're like, cool, all right, if that's where they're at, that's what they're into. Let them start. It might change over time, but let them start to bring that through. And you're just giving that permission to, okay, what's alive and active and inside you and churning, and start to bring that out. And so once that, it's kind of like opening that portal. You just kind of like have to hold that space for them and let that start to flow out of them, and then give them, the creative tools. Why don't you write about it, draw about it? Can you make me a picture of what that looks like? Whether they do it by hand. Some kids are into Minecraft, so she had them going on Minecraft and making their sanctuary in there, singing about it, writing about it, and just continue that dialogue in a fun way. It starts to bring that game to life, if you will, so they can play with it. And then, oh, cool, what's your superpowers of your avatar? And oh, what if it had this challenge, how would it deal with it, right? And you kind of like start to engage them to tap into that and bring it through. They're not really generally encouraged to be what's inside of them. It's like, here you have to do these things that we think you need to do, this homework, right? Or you got to learn these certain things, do this, or here, go play on these things, right? So there's not too much an engagement of what's alive inside of you that's waiting to come out. There's usually not too much space for that. So this encourages that, and then can be then applied to academic stuff. We've got projects in the curriculum around like science and math and vocabulary and writing that are inspired by these, so it syncs up to them. So, for example, there's the ice realm I mentioned earlier. Now we're going to look at Antarctica and the ice sheets and animals in there, and maybe what's that look like for you, or how do other people in the past survive these regions, or what's going on. So it connects it all and makes it more exciting for them. Um, or they might come back there. Later on, you get different allies that are joining you, right? So it might be a bear, say, or a wolf, or any kind of creature. Now let's go look at those. Where do eagles live? You got an eagle with you? Where do eagles live? What's their habitat like? Are they endangered, right? It makes it more personal to them. And then it also fuels their own creativity. Oh, eagles, there's black ones and there's gold ones, and there's, oh, maybe mine's a gold one. Maybe, right? It starts to add to them, and they become, it's from their own imagination and creativity, but it also begins to be synergized or connected with the real world, right? And that's how we bridge
Mm.
the magic and the fantasy with day-to-day life.
Mm. Yeah, it gives them a choice, and which is like really important for especially like teenagers,
Mhm.
like having a choice, being able to be like sovereign and powerful and make their own decisions because they're just on the cusp of that age where they're about to step into yeah, independence, but they're not quite yet there yet, which is why teenagers get so angsty when they're told what
Right.
to do, right? So this is like really giving them an opportunity to be like, no, I want to be this,
Mhm.
and yeah, exploring their own minds, exploring their subconscious mind, and
Mhm.
stepping away from the screen. And it's fun because the screen introduces them into this, so it's like something that's familiar for them. It's like, it's like it's on the screen, which you want to be doing, and then it tells you to close the eyes, and I
Mhm.
think that leading by example bit is like really important. Me doing it, and I think for young people, it's like if they can see that we're doing it, they might be like, "That's really uncool." My older sister and my parents are doing it, or they might be like, "Oh, actually, I'm gonna get into it." But
Mm,
yeah, yeah, I like for all of the people listening, you're young people, you know what they're gonna be into.
mm,
And even if you don't have young people like me, um, it's just incredible. Like I love fantasy, I love mythology, and it's like given me a reason as a parent. My son is 2, so he's not going to
mm,
be doing it for quite some time. But it's
right.
given me a reason to get back into fantasy. I don't have much time to read books, and I need to spend more time in meditation. So, yeah, this is great. Yeah, so was there anything else you wanted to say about this in the Inner Realms journey before talking a little bit about the Mystic Cave offering that's coming? And yeah, what you're going to bring to that? Like, yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, I think yeah, with the inner realms and just that sharing, I found the more you share of your creation and your experience, that excites others. Like if you share what your avatar is and what that experience was for you to create, like what that felt like, what it looks like, that creates that curiosity. Oh, what's my avatar, right? And there's so many like quizzes online about what's your this or that, right? So it
Mm.
invites people. Oh yeah, well I wonder what my avatar is, and that opens that up. And then your sanctuary is the next big thing you get to create, which is your home realm, which is your own magical place. So that again, that just opens up that door, and then to be able to share that. I have so many friends that love to hear about the Elven Wizard in my sanctuary, and so that's like part of my normal conversation now when I meet somebody new. It's like, oh yeah, I'm the Elven Wizard, and this is what this looks like, and right, and it just opens that up.
Could you share like three of the like yeah, coolest, most inspirational avatars that have come to you? Like
Hmm.
that would be cool just to get some people like, oh, what's mine?
Right, right. Let's see some of the ones that we've had. Mystical sort of healer energy. She did a lot of healing work. She was in sort of a healthcare environment, so she really felt that coming through, and this connection to the animals and the land. And she had this beautiful like, I saw her as almost like emerging out of this sort of waterfall of beautiful energy around her, and I remember she was talking about her dress being like almost like a rainbow waterfall experience, and she had different like medicine pouches and jewelry on her, and this sort of glowing, shimmering hair. So it was just this very mystique, full healing vibe. Let's see who else can I share. There's one guy who has this sort of eagle man monk, and it really helped him realize he had this power of uplifting others and inspiring hope, and also his ability to really be focused and be like that solid present through challenging things and be able to like uplift everyone. So it really like helped him align with that. And later on, he was going through challenging big life changes, and those like he was able to actually take the challenges and use those to further develop his avatar. So he like added some treasures and things to his avatar that helped him navigate those challenging things. Um, who else comes to mind? Originally thought she was a fairy, and as she got more into it, she realized she was more this like desert mystic shaman kind of medicine woman. And it helped her because she lives in the desert. It helped her really like bring that more to life in her connection to the landscape she was actually in, and like deepen that. And she's like, oh, actually, this is like where I really thrive. And she connected more with the landscape and the nature around it. So it helped her. She had this idea of a fairy. I think it was a bit of like societal kind of stuff. And then she really dove in. It was like, oh no, this is what my avatar is. And it helped her really understand herself and where she's at and why she's there. Um, of
Mm.
course, I'll share mine, the Elven Wizard. There's always been a love of wizards and elves, being connected with trees and nature. And I remember playing Dungeons and Dragons. That was my favorite go-to, was playing an elf or a wizard or both if I could. As I started building this, I was like, well, I'm telling other people to be their magical self. What's mine? And it very quickly was like, oh yeah, I'm the Elven Wizard. And I realized I've been sort of building it, even like these gloves here I've had for 12 years. So different pieces of it have always sort of been there. And then it just sort of synergized together. And the last 4 years, I've really been diving in of how much of this can I bring to life, really walk the walk sort of thing as much as I can. How much wizarding can I wizard? I like to say. So really turning that up and see now I can bring that to life and bringing that out even in public, like walking around the airport in this and different places to bring that to life. And I know it's so much part of me now, right? It's not like this separate thing. It's just part of my day to day that I am the Elven Wizard, and how do I continue to show up like this and bring this? How much that inspires me and makes me more passionate about things in life and waking up and doing the work I do, right?
Mm,
So it's just that invigorating aspect, and I see how much it lights other people up. Just me walking around with it, it just gives people that permission. So it's like breaking down all the conditioning very quickly by being that.
mm,
So yeah, there's more. There's an avatar gallery on our website you can check out people that have submitted their avatars. It's really fun when we get to do group classes and group events, and people get to share that, or if you're running it with a group, to just see everyone's avatar and see how that brings them to life.
mm. Yeah,
Mhm.
fun. Yeah, after we've spoken about the Mystic Cave, you can just like, yeah, plug in the training that you do.
Mm.
Just in case anyone who is listening is like, yeah, would be interested in getting into this a little deeper, in
Yeah,
terms of like bringing it to people. So,
yeah,
yeah, and also, yeah, like your book, like you've got this like actual physical book that can be a part of it that's like optional for people to buy but recommended. Yeah, like this is like quite recent, isn't it?
yeah. This came out earlier this year. We did a Kickstarter for it, which is big in the gaming community. So that was a success. So the book um, takes you through the process. So this goes along with the audios, and it helps you. The first third of it explains a lot of the concepts and what you're going to be doing, and right inspiration for your avatar and your sanctuary, and powering up your biosuit, all the different things in there. Of course, traveling across the tree of life, and then the rest, the second part of it, the journal, structured journal for all the different things you can.
Ooh.
Sanctuary, if you really track it and bring it and write.
Mm,
And so this is a powerful way to just bring that magic to life. So that book's available as well for people that want to go in a little bit further.
mm. Yeah, fun. Awesome. Okay, cool. Um, yeah, I would love for it to come over to these lands, over
Yeah.
into Europe at some point. I think
Oh,
it's, yeah, I think a lot of people who I'd like, just for everyone listening, like, please just comment below. Let us know what you think about this. Like, go on to like Aaron's like Facebook and Instagram pages and check out the website. And yeah, if you would like to have a go at the Inner Realms journey, it is a part of this Mystic Cave collection that I brought up earlier. So what I've got in the Mystic Cave is it does include a journey and it is a mythic meditation journey, but it is to go along with learning about the bards from Wales and ancient Britain. So, like, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people in that fantasy world who know what a bard is, like in terms of like modern fantasy understanding. And it's like, some of that is true based on the history of the bardic craft. But yeah, my workshop is going into like the history of the bards in ancient Britain, and a specific story and myth from Wales, and that's going to be included in the Mystic Cave bundle, as well as some other really awesome workshops. We've got a workshop on folklore of the sea, which goes into like oceanic folklore and practical magic. We've got some ebooks on like protection magic and liminal magic. We've got a more of a study course on Brittany, which is the name of Britain, native Britain, when the whole of the land's people understood themselves as Brittany, and it goes into like the history of an Iron Age village. That's got a journey that takes you on a journey into an Iron Age village.
cool.
We've got a lot of ancestral themed work in there as well. So like we're coming up to Samhain, which if you're listening to this afterwards, still good to know. But Samhain is a holiday for ancestral connection because it is a time where the earth and the moon and the sun within the cosmos, these celestial bodies are placed in positions that talking about inner worlds and other worlds, where spirits are able to move more easily through the different realms upon Earth. And we are also spirits as well. I think a lot of the time we seem to forget that we are those spirits as well, which is
Mm.
why it's really good to do journeying around these times and explore our own liminal places and inner worlds. So I'm not going to tell you guys everything that's included in this mystic cave, but yeah, like if you wanted to say anything about the Mystic Cave, Aaron, like go for it. A little bit more of like what you've got involved in there, because I know you've got two more. There's like a bonus offering in there in the Mystic
Yeah.
Cave as well. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So I got some of my other offerings outside Inner Realms Journey. We've got the introduction to dragon energy and working with the dragon spirits, right? And you can see I'm very close. That's Freya, one of my dragons, there with me on my deck, and helping people connect with the dragon energy is very powerful energy for life force for helping you overcome fears and limitations. So starting to work with the dragon energy is a little. I think it's a 2 hour course in there. And then also another one called the Unraveling. Oh, did I freeze? Oh, okay. Unraveling the Ancestral Lattice, which is the concept that, we have both our human ancestors and our spiritual ancestors, and our connection to these different realms, as you were saying, right? And helping unravel that, right? There's a lot of pain and sorrow and trauma that's happened through the ages here. So that has created a lot of disconnection within us from these other dimensions or realms across the tree of life. So that process helps you to open up that and start to um, receive that ancestral support, right? Because you have your human ancestors and all these other ones that want to see a better world, things in harmony, and see you in your full vitality. So this helps open up those channels, those pathways to them to encourage you and to bring your power, right? So, I've got a lot of different spirit beings around me that I work with or allies from all these different realms that are here with me and part of this greater council. It's like, even though I'm alone, I'm not alone, right? There's all this here with me helping. So those are there to help you just open up that inner connection to all these different realms that are here with you.
Mm. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, I didn't know that that dragon one was a 2 hour course. That's really cool. Yeah, so I wanted to just show you, just reminded me, I've got this like crystal dragon
Oh,
that
nice.
I don't think it's not meant to be a dragon, but
It
it
looks like it.
definitely is a dragon, you
All
know.
right.
This is sort of
I
like
love it.
my dragon that I carry around with me and
I
is
love it.
living by my bed at the moment. Um, yeah,
Beautiful.
cool. Okay, so was there anything else that I wanted to talk about? I guess like where can people find you physically? Because that's pretty cool. Like where do you go physically
Yeah, yeah.
as the wizard?
So I'm traveling around the West Coast. So I'm usually up and down the West Coast, making my way south for the winter, from up to Seattle through Portland down to Mount Shasta, Bay Area, LA, and San Diego. So you can kind of follow me on social media. I do live trainings. I do mead ceremonies occasionally, bringing back the ancient honey wine
Mm,
as well. So I do. You can find me here and there doing live events as well. I do energy healing work as well, one-on-one sessions, helping people really tap into and power and unravel all the restrictions and fears and limitations in their system. And then I am also doing the trainings for inner realm journeys for professionals that want to bring this into their field, whether they're therapists or work in mental health care or with kids or educators. So a lot of different applications for this. So I'm doing. We're going to have our next training in January online as well. So if anybody wants to join in that, I'm just getting that set up as well. So lots of ways to connect.
mm. Yeah, so like yeah, so with the Mystic Cave for the people who aren't in able to go and like visit you in person. So my intention for actually pulling all of this together is because I get asked so often like where do I start looking into all of this? And people just want to find some sort of community. So I've like collected everyone and like all of these offerings together when you separate them out. Like if you were going to buy them all, it would cost like over £1,000, I think over $1,300. And you can get them right now for like 90% off for like just £100. Like some of these courses in there, like well over £100. I think like your offerings all together is like it costs more than this Mystic Cave bundle itself. So yeah, just to throw that out there, like the intention for me doing this is truly just to bring something that is affordable for all of us so that we can carry like a basket of online offerings into the
Yeah.
colder months for those of us going into the autumn and winter,
Your trick or
and
treats.
going, yeah, trick or treating. It was so funny when you said that last time. Yeah, like these are treats, guys. There's no tricking. This is not a trick. This is a full on treat. Um, yeah, just like super excited to see where this autumn goes and to see who we all end up as when we come out of the yeah, just to see like who we're all gonna be after these seasons have gone by. So yeah, thank you so much for coming on to the Starlit Stories podcast and sharing your wizardry. I often call my followers my wizards. So I'd say like welcome wizards. I'm moving more into now like my nomies. Like my nomies is sort of where I'm
That means
going. Um
I love
wizards
it.
and nomies. But yeah, thank you so much,
Yeah.
Aaron.
Yeah, you're so welcome. And my what social media, the Instagram and Facebook are the Elven Wizard. You can find me and elvenwizard.com or Aaron Pine, Pyne will take you to my website too. So, and then Inner Realms Journey, of course, innerrealmsjourney.com to get in there and start that. And yeah, definitely get on the Mystic Cave because you're going to get lots of tricks and treats and magic to get you through the next cycle here. So, thanks you so much for having me on and getting to share all this fun magic and inspire people to bring their magic through into this world because it needs it. And so
Mhm.
it's an exciting time to get to be the ones that are bringing it into life for ourselves and for this world, right? Getting to weave the myths back into life.
Mm. Yeah, I love how this is rebellious in some ways. What a world, hey.
It is.